right, next up on Atlanta Business Radio this afternoon, we have with us President, Citywide Maintenance of Georgia, Mr. Scott Schonberger. How's it going down there, man?
It's going great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Did you learn anything in that last segment?
Wow. I learned I need to know a lot more about math.
Exactly. We all learned that. So what are you guys doing for folks?
We provide commercial building maintenance services to properties across the region, such as janitorial, carpet care, tile care, window washing, those items.
So now, how'd you get into this line of work?
That's a great question. I was with corporate America for about 20 years and ran into the president of Citywide of the main office, Jeff Odo. Ran into him at one of our buddies' 40th birthday parties. So I'm going to date myself a little bit here.
Just last week.
Right.
Yesterday.
But he asked how things were going with me, and I said, well, I'm, still in corporate America, still working for the man. He said, you ought to get into this business. And sure enough, a year later, I end up diving into the building maintenance services business.
So was it everything you dreamed of?
It was. As a lot of your listeners know, there's nothing better than working for yourself. There's a different type of stress level. But at the end of the day, you go home and you say, you know what, I'm the captain of my own ship, and you just work harder and you achieve results.
So now, what was it like making that transition from a corporate employee to kind of master of your universe?
The conversation with the spouse. I want to hear about that.
Right. Well, we did it over a bottle of wine.
Yeah, that was good.
First and foremost. But no, I can tell you, it was a big jump. It was, I told all my buddies, I'm all in, right? Because you're not working for somebody else. It's you work hard, you make your own paycheck.
Sure.
So the jump was scary, but I tell you what, it's the old proverbial grab the horns and wrestle it down, and I think I've done a pretty good job at it.
So now is Citywide, is that a franchise, or is that it's here in town, or it's all over the country? It
is all over the country. And I like to say I bought a business model versus buying a franchise. And it's my job to execute on that business model.
So it's not a franchise?
It is a franchise. It is. But in this business, the word franchise means different things to different people. So I try to be very clear when I'm talking to our customers and talking to our prospects.
So you can customize the services according to the needs of the customer rather than hey, this is in McDonald's, they only make hamburgers. The way the McDonald's
We can customize it, and also I believe we manage it so much different than some of our competition. So we do our best to set ourselves apart, and so it's a great business. It's a great model. It's all about execution.
So now, walk us through what an engagement looks like, because I would imagine most buildings have somebody already doing this work.
You're exactly right. It's one of those where we walk into buildings or we call on buildings, and it's all about finding pain. Mm-hmm. I always say, you know what, if you've got a babysitter and she's great, then don't get rid of her. But if she's causing you challenges, or if you got a guy that mows your yard and something's not right about it and you're feeling some challenges, you're feeling some heartburn,
it might be worth having a conversation, exploring some things, right?
Then give us the opportunity. Absolutely.
So now, what are some of the pain points you typically encounter?
It's funny. Back in corporate America, I was always having meetings in boardrooms or conference rooms. I have more meetings in bathrooms and break rooms now.
You're walking around and he's pointing this stuff, right?
And the customer says, this isn't getting done properly. This isn't getting cleaned properly. I'm tired of having my employees come up and tell me that the bathrooms are dirty or the break rooms are dirty. And it's simple things, but it's things that our customers don't like to deal with.
Right.
And they don't like to hear about the paper towels being out. They don't like to hear about the break room floor being dirty. So they want somebody that's going to take those pain points away from them. And I think we do a great job at that.
So now, why do you think you do such a great job? Are your systems just better?
I think our systems are better, but I think it's all about people. It's obviously getting the right people on the bus when you're running a corporation. And, I'm all about showing the customer that we care, showing them some love, showing them the appreciation that they are our business. And so if you just show them that you appreciate them, they're going to be a customer for a long time.
So now, do you have a sweet spot in terms of size of building or type of building?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say it's anywhere from 10,000 square feet up to 100,000 square feet, and it's the owner occupied building, and not to get too detailed in it, but we go after those folks that, maybe an auto dealer, maybe a bank, maybe an office building.
So it's not necessarily like a high rise that's owned by a REIT or something like that.
Exactly right. When I walked into this building, I said, well, nice building, but I'm probably not going to call on it.
Right.
So, because it's a whole different niche for that. But our sweet spot, getting back to your question, is probably those medium-sized buildings.
And so those medium-sized buildings, do they ever do it in-house themselves, or they are always subcontracting out?
Sometimes in-house, sometimes subcontracting. And it's funny, you just want to reach out to them because they may do it in-house, but then come to find out the guy that's doing it or the couple that's doing it is deciding to retire. And now it's time that they've got to outsource. They got to find somebody. So, our goal with our organization is just to stay close to all of our prospects. We reach out to them every 30 or 60 days, the typical sales, sales and marketing, but you just never know. Things could be great today, but in 30 days or 60 days, they say, wow, I'm glad you called.
So now, do you ever work with franchises that have like multiple units, or is that a different animal as well?
So you're talking more retail. Probably not.
But say like a medical spa or something like that.
Yes. And some of our customers here locally, we do work with Wellstar. They've got multiple facilities across the area. So just different types. And when you talk about auto dealers, there's groups that own 4, 6, 10 different dealers, and we'll work with those folks.
So now, what's the most rewarding part of the job for you?
I think just having customers tell us that, wow, I used to change companies every 12 months, every 18 months. And when they say, Scott...
Is that true? They would change that often?
You'd be amazed how this business is plagued with mediocrity. And
if they're changing every year, that's a nightmare for them.
It really is. It really is. And so that's another reason why we're in business, is because there's a lot of folks that don't do a good job.
Right.
They got to be in a lot of pain, though, because it's just the transition of just changing from one to the other. That's really got to be must really be hurting.
Exactly right. In order to change, they've got to have a lot of heartburn. And it's our goal to find them when they get to that point that, I'm fed up. I got to make a change.
So now, is your sales and marketing, like you mentioned, these kind of regular touches, is that in person? Is it on the phone? Is it through your website?
It's a combination of all. I'd say mostly the majority of our sales and marketing comes from, walking into lobbies, walking into buildings, as well as we have an inside sales group that touches our prospects at, like I said, every 30 or 60 days. But no, a lot of it is. I know when I started, I was out on the streets. The phone wasn't ringing in my office, and I said, I got to go out and find some customers. So you walk out and you walk into lobbies and say, hey, do you mind if I ask a few questions? And next thing you know, you've got a meeting with them. And
the person who makes a decision in your world is the building manager, or it could be the actual owner of the company?
Yes and yes. It could be a director of human resources. It could be an office manager. It could be the owner of the company. It could be a GM if you talk about an auto dealer.
Right.
Wide range of folks that are in charge of this type of service.
Now, does your target market encompass, are there a lot of them here in town?
As far as prospects,
right?
Yeah, it's funny when a lot of people drive by buildings and just see a building. When I drive by a building, I see an opportunity.
Right, exactly.
Right?
It totally changed the way you see the world.
Oh
now,
my
right?
gosh, I haven't gone to a break room or bathroom the same since I bought this company.
You're like, look at how they do the paper towels here. Right, write that down.
Right. Well, so it's. every building that has say over 30 employees in it, we go after it, because the more employees you have, the more people are using the bathroom, the more people are using the break room, and the more trash there is in the building.
So bathrooms are the key, right? Is that the thing that's gives people the most heartache? It's not acceptable to their employees or their customers, and it reflects their brand. I mean, it's one of those subtle things, like you were saying earlier. People are going to make an adjust if they keep their bathroom messy. What are they doing to my account, or what are they going to do for me later on?
Right. I would say bathrooms, break rooms, and really lobbies. I mean, if you're a customer of say an auto dealer, you walk into a lobby or a showroom,
right?
You walk into somebody's building, and if it's not clean, you start to think,
right, what other things?
Right. What else is wrong? So. There's a lot of things you don't think about, but those are the things that we look at and pride ourselves on taking care of.
No, I agree. It's protecting the brand of the company. I mean, that's an important part of the experience of the customer. They're going to make judgments based on what they see.
Right. And it's also about keeping the morale of employees up.
Right.
If I'm an employee,
that makes sense.
If I'm an employee of a building or a company, and I've got 100 different employees here, and I want it to be clean.
Right. So what's next for you?
Growth. Just hard work and continuing to grow and take care of our customers, and then someday handing it over to my kids.
Oh, really? So that was part of your intention, is to have kind of a legacy?
It would be nice, but they've already told me that, Dad, they're not doing it. Yeah. I'm tired of hearing you on the phone at 8 o'clock at night talking about the mop bucket that you spilled. But no, it's we'll see after another 10, 15 years, see what happens.
And then how are you going to fuel the growth?
Hard work.
More.
It's really a sales and marketing organization,
right?
And then obviously once we bring on customers, it's management,
right?
But to fuel the growth, it's how many folks can we touch? How many folks can we reach out to and possibly bring them on as a customer?
Right.
All right. Before we wrap the segment, I want to go back and see if we can share a little bit of counsel with our friends out there who may be contemplating the idea of leaving the corporate world, starting to do their own thing. Can you share a word of wisdom or two, maybe a don't or a do?
I don't know necessarily a don't, but a do is just work hard. And the thing is, I had a good business model, and it was all about execution. And the old proverbial, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I had a guy tell me that in corporate America, so I guess I learned that from corporate America. But it's hard work, and the rewards are there, but you really just have to run hard and execute on a well-developed plan, and you'll reap the rewards.
And that's what kind of made you choose Citywide, because you felt that their structure and framework were going to help you scale and grow and get to the result you wanted?
Yeah, that, and also I talked to a lot of the some of the other owners. And if you think about this business, well, first of all, you don't think about it if you're not in it, but I started to research it. There's so much. Every building out there has something to do with building maintenance, or it has some building maintenance needs.
Yeah, sure.
Whether it's cleaning the carpets, whether it's painting a conference room, whether it's fixing a light, whether it's taking the trash out. And you start to drill into it.
You start counting, and you're like, there's an awful lot of these, and I don't need that many of these.
Right, right. And there's a lot of potential in this business once you start to peel back the onion.
Well, we're going to give you some analytics to work with before you walk out of here, because I got to connect.
Right, we're all going to work together after this.
That's right. Okay, so where can our listeners go to learn more?
I would just say visit our website, and that is www.gocitywide.com.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing with us, man.
Thanks for having me.